Shema, Yashallah, Yahawah, Alhainawa, Yahawah, Akhad, Shema, Yashallah, Yahawah, Alhainawa, Yahawah, Akhad, Shema, Yashallah, Yahawah, Alhainawa, Yahawah, Akhad. All right, Shalom, Akim. We'd like to start off by giving all honor and glory to Yahawah, Ba'ashem, Yahawashi'S, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to our apostles, great millstone, rule well, and peace and blessings to the house of David the elect. On Zahabah to my left. And today we're going to go into a live stream entitled, all right, we're going to tame the nations in Yahawashi'S kingdom. All right, we are going to tame the nations in Yahawashi'S kingdom. All right, shalom, shalom to brothers tuning in. All right, but basically, all right, when Yahawashi comes to this planet Earth and receive his rightfully inheritance, which is everything on earth, including the nations, all right, he's going to have to break the nations into subjection. He's going to use us to do so, man. All right, so if you could start out with Psalms 2 and 8, just read on down.
All right, this is the book of Psalms, chapter 2. Can I start saying?
Yeah, come on.
This Psalm chapter 2, verse 7. I will declare the decree. The Lord Yahawah Ba'ashem Yahawashi have said unto me, Thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance.
Yep, and it says his inheritance. Because even in our homeland Jerusalem, which he's talking about Yahawashi here, but even in the ancient world, you know, you would have an estate. And then when you went back to the spirit world, you know, your son, which would be your heir, he would inherit your estate. Now, usually within your estate, it would include servants. So what Yahawah Ba'ashem Yahawashi is telling Yahawashi, or Yahawah is telling Yahawashi, you're going to get the heathen for your inheritance, because the earth is going to be inherited to you. That's going to be your estate.
Yep, and then when you understand how, you know, a lord, you know, over a realm, you know, every son that he has will be a lord. You know, even the servants of that household will call it, look, you know, 5-6-year-old boy, my lord, my lord. You know, because that's his whole purpose. He's going to grow up to be a lord. So that's, you know, what we're coming in. That's the part of the lineage, you know, that we're coming into, man. Because Yahawashi is pretty much is going to be the new manager of the earth. All right, and you need humans. All right, because the best, all right, resource you can have is humans, people. Esau came up off of humans. You know, us. He had the best. He had the best stock of humans. You know, on the earth. Yeah. You see, because if you like, even with pit bulls, it's all about what that bloodline.
Yeah.
You know, when you go in the pit bulls, you all about a certain bloodline. Even with horses, it's all about a certain, you know,
certain stock.
Yeah, certain stock.
Yeah.
And Israel, Esau had the best stock. That's why he was able to elevate, man. You see, but now we finna have, all right, all the heathens, man. You know, and it says, it's an ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt.
No, go ahead, bro.
Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel.
See, there's a reality to inheriting the earth. That's like, you know, you get a bunch of horses. All right, you get a bunch of animals or whatever it is, you might inherit those animals, but you still have to tame it. You still have to break his will and beat it into a servant, man. So that's what it means when it says, thou shalt rule them with the rod of iron, man. All right, because there's a reality to obtaining the kingdom and being joint heirs with Yahawashi. All right, this is like what Esau did when he went on the planet Earth to rule the nations when that dragon was loose. He basically beat the nations into subjection. He used his narrative that said, look, these are heathens. They have to be domesticated. That's why you had Gad and those, what do you call it, those reformatory schools?
Yeah, boarding schools.
Those boarding schools, a lot. And that was his way of basically beating the nations into subjection and so-called bringing them up after his manner. Making them cut their hair and wear suits and stuff.
Yep, it was the new Hellenization.
Yep.
See?
Yep.
I got a quick one. This is Ecclesiastes 8 and 11. Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. And because this society is so loose and so passive, when it comes to wickedness, that the mindset of everyone in the planet Earth is pretty much to excel in wickedness. You know? Why? Because there is no judgment. That's why, going back to the precept, you know, the elder had brought out, it's because the reason why we have to rule with a rod of iron, because that has to be beaten out of them. You know? Because you gotta think, like, it took Esau a long time. He had to beat our language out of us. He had to beat our ways out of us. You know, he had to beat the names out of us. Those things, it took time to beat those out of us because we were so accustomed to a particular way. And this society is so accustomed to evil because there is no judgment, righteous judgment in the earth, that it's going to take a time. Like that first 1,000 years is pretty much going to be breaking the heathen as they build up our infrastructure of our kingdom with the precious stones, the gold, and all these things. We're going to be breaking, all right, that evil, willful spirit that Esau has put on them, man.
Yep.
You know?
As a matter of fact, yeah, I mean, you going, was there more to that?
That was it. Yeah, that was it.
Get the word chastise and look at the word chastise in the blue of the Bible.
Okay.
All right, because we're going to chastise the nations, man. All right, and it's more than just beating, all right, or afflicting, which afflict means to strike, but that whole process is a cultivating process, man. All right, see, what like the scripture goes into Romans 11, that wild olive branch. It's like Jake that hadn't been cultured into our heritage, so they're basically in a state of heathens. Well, the heathen are, how much more are the heathens themselves? Like a wild olive branch, man. All right? Yep, 13 Illuminati families control the earth, you know? Yeah.
You just want just the word in general?
Yeah, you could just look up the word in general and do that.
Okay.
But basically, we're about to teach the earth. We're about to tame the earth, man. We're about to civilize the planet Earth. Because right now, westernization is basically taking civility away, man. Because what happens is Esau makes you think that if you went to school, that you're educated. But you're so-called educated, yet you have no moral restraint over your own beastly nature. Basically, the American Empire is an extension of the Roman Empire, and it's basically cavemen in their rulership. That's why it was so full of debauchery. So what he did, he allowed the rest of the world to become like him. You know, at first America had a so-called moral fabric, but what would you say around the 1960s? That's when the world really started to embrace that caveman spirit, man. All right?
That satanic spirit.
That satanic spirit.
Now, in the Hebrew, it's the word yasar. All right, yasar, for that word chastise, and it says to chasten, to discipline, to instruct, to admonish.
Look on the lexicon. Yeah, like if you go up, you stroll up or go back.
Right here.
You can stroll up, stroll all the way up. Go all the way up. And go to the other one. Get the other word for chastise. Okay. But yeah, it's your phone is a little different, so it's hard for me to just pinpoint it. But there's two definitions for chastise, and if you go to the lexicon, it had those two definitions. I gotta go all the way out of it though. Go all the way out of it. And just go back to if you can find a lexicon on there. If not, that's fine. We don't have to press the yeah, there's a different definition, but basically the lexicon, it goes straight into the different chastising, the different Hebrew origins or Greek origins in this sense. But basically chastise, it means to culture. You cultivate. So we're breaking the heathens from that beastly state they're in, and then we're cultivating them into our way, man. All right, because we're gonna already have the laws written in our minds, pursuant to Jeremiah the 31st chapter, man. Okay? But we're gonna beat the nations. All right, when we say you should rule them with a rod of iron. And why is that? Because you have to rule over their beastly nature. All right? That's why in you get it right quick. In Sirach 30, it tells you how to deal with a servant. Can you believe that our heritage, all right, tells you how to deal with the servant? Okay? Let's see if I can get there right quick. It says Sirach 30 and 24. And keep in mind, we're gonna receive the heathen for our inheritance, starting with Yahawashi'S being the first heir. Okay?
I get it for Sirach
33 and 24.
All right. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 33 and 24. And it says, Father, a one and burdens are for the ass, and bread, correction, and work for a servant.
Bread, correction, and work. So that's how that's the world of a servant. Food, correction, and duties. But they're not used to being in slavery, so we're gonna beat them into slavery, man. We're gonna beat them out of their own will, because everything in its natural state wants to be free. All right, everything, whether it's an animal or a human, everything desires freedom. All right, but what you do is you have to beat them out of that desire to be free, and you beat them into a structure. You beat them into a duty, man. Anytime they step outside of that margin, so to speak, then you beat them into your will, man. That's why you call it breaking their will. Breaking their will to be free.
I got a quick one for you.
All right.
This Proverbs 22 and 15. It says, foolishness is bound in the heart of a child.
Now, where did it refer to Esau? It said those that are younger than I. Showing you that the nations, they're like children.
Yep.
All right? Because what's the nature of a child? It's wild. It's undisciplined. All right, so that's the nature of not only Esau, but the rest of the heathens under Esau. That's what westernization is. It puts you in the spirit of a child. Look at the women.
Yep.
All right.
I got a quick one just bagged up what you were saying. This is Ecclesiastes 10 and 16. Woe to thee, O land, when thy king is a child, and thy princes eat in the morning.
What does it mean when your king is a child, man? He's a damn nigga. Or he's what would you call it? Ignoble. He's ignoble. He's not disciplined. All right? Like the king of Babylon, man. Or the kings of the earth, man. Because what did it say? The wicked are estranged from the womb. Estranged from what? The laws. But then it says in Sirach, in short, that as the king, so are the subjects under the king. So now the whole earth has been estranged from the ways of Yahawashi'S. You know, that's why it says in Romans 1:26, even the women have gone after their nature. 35 don't have children, but got 5 different degrees with blonde hair. You know?
Or she has children, but she has no motherly skills. You know?
And that's all it is. She just has children. She's not a part of a family structure. It is her that mysteriously got 2 kids. Nobody knows about the baby daddy. You know, and like you said, like you said before the lesson started, she just babysitting her kids. You know? But that's because of her, primarily it's the ruler of the earth.
He set this system up. He gave the okay for these things to exist and be cool. You know? Because back in Proverbs 22 and 15, it says foolishness is bound in the heart of a child.
Showing you that the nature of a child is to be it's like an animal. The nature of a child is free spirited. It's not under any structure. So you got to tame your children. But on a greater scale, you got to tame the heathen on the planet Earth. Right?
And that's why if every family, you know, tame the children, then that benefits the whole society. That's why the family structure was so important. Like the family wasn't even just about that household. It was about the society. You know, when you go into the structure of our nation, the family, one household, all right, being in order was beneficial to the society because they will produce offspring that was in order, and they was gonna have offspring, and it was gonna continue on, man.
A civilization.
And it says foolishness is bound in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction shall drive it far from him.
Because you give your child duties, and if he doesn't do it, he has an attitude about it, then you correct him, or you might fuss at him, or you might spank him. All right, but that's correct. Anytime you step outside of those boundaries, man,
get your ass slaughtered. You know, I don't know why you should get slaughtered, man. Maybe but it was needful, because now when you think about, you know, when I think now, the thing that really makes you and instills something in you that's more valuable than even money is the discipline that adults, you know, instilled in you, you know, as a young child, you know, because what we considered mean, you know, or strict was really, you know, like you're saying, a chastisement that would instill something in you that now you can be beneficial, you know, to someone else. Now you can be beneficial to a family structure, man.
Because as an adult, you basically, it's the distinction between men and boys. men have a fear in them.
Yeah.
If I do this, this gonna happen.
Yeah.
I want to do this, but shit, this gonna happen.
Yeah.
A boy or a nigga, he just do that shit, then look crazy when the consequence happen, man. Undisciplined, you know, immature, like the brother said, man.
Yeah. Then what Esau, he promoted a group called Immature.
Yeah.
You know, it was all psychological, man. Because Esau wants, you know, he wants to keep Jacob in that baby boy spirit and that what they call the silly mode.
Yep, silly mode.
You see, there's children silly. See, you know, even on Godfathers, man, you like, look, women and children can be careless. He like, men can't be careless, man.
And silly is careless.
Yep.
You know,
hey, because going back to the ride of correction, that's why these scriptures, you know, is likened, you know, unto a rod. Because like the scripture talk about how, you know, wisdom, you know, she bringeth us by her she tried her, you know, by her straight ways, because really the fear of Yahawashi'S, that's what's really that rod that's correcting us, because the flesh doesn't care about a woman being married.
Nope.
You know, but the rod, the scriptures, it says no, you can't do that. The flesh don't care about, you know, we're not supposed to eat shrimp and these different things. The flesh just want to be pleased, but see, it's a rod that's constantly correcting us, you know, and getting us in order, man, you know, and disciplining us, man.
And it makes us, that's what makes us superior, man. All right, that's what makes you noble, all right, and royal and superior to the other nations. It was right in the Canaanites' face. The Most High gave us laws to distinguish us from them damn Canaanites, man. All right, did you have something?
Yeah, this is Psalms 23:4. It said, yeah, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me.
Yep.
You know?
And like you said, the rod is for correction. Staff is for comfort.
Yep.
You know? All right. Did you have something?
No.
All right, you could get Revelations 2:27. Just key scriptures going into the process of taming the nations, man. We're not just gonna beat them because we assholes. We beating them for a particular will.
Yeah, it's gonna be for a better purpose.
Yeah.
You know, it's gonna be that's gonna benefit the earth. You know, having a righteous standard in the earth will benefit the earth, man.
And also, yeah, it's like too, that staff is how you measure the prophecies. You know, I just want to insert that too.
This is on Revelations 2:27, and it says, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, with the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father.
They did it with us. The concept of breaking our nation, they take the alpha male, the leaders of our tribes, all right, and you tie them each their leg to a horse, and you tar them and feather them. Then you had a horse go in opposite directions. That was breaking our people. Buck breaking, that was a form of humiliating our people. All right, but what were they doing? If you read the wilderness letter, they likened us to a horse. All right, they broke our will. So then he did that in front of the woman. So the woman will have a fear, and she'll be in survival mode. So she'll teach her son to be submissive, so it won't happen to him, and she'll teach her daughter to eat out the hand of the oppressor. That was their method of breaking the nation, breaking our nation. All right. And then you see it furthermore with like whoremongers, when they say, I'm gonna break a bitch.
Yep.
You breaking her independent spirit, and now what does she call you? Daddy. All right, it's the same thing, man. But we're gonna break the nations, man, to our will, man.
It's gonna be in righteousness.
It's gonna because we're saving them from themselves. This is how you save the planet Earth, man. All right.
This is Isaiah 26:9. It says, with my soul have I desired thee in the night. Yeah. With my spirit within me will I seek thee early. For when thy judgments are in the earth, the inhabitants of the world will learn righteousness. Yep,
when thy judgments are in the earth, the inhabitants of the world will learn righteousness, man. All right, that's why it says in Romans, the 8th chapter, the earnest expectation of the creature, they waited on the manifestation of the sons of the living power, because the heathen know that the world is out of order. All right? If you get that in Isaiah where it says they're going to come, the sons, the strangers going to come bending unto us. Yeah. If you know what that said. All right, because basically, all right, the rest of the nations, they know that this is not how you run the world, man. Like I said, the worst thing you can do is liberate women from their God-given structure, all right? allow your kids to go out to say, allow your woman to go out to say, all right? You got the whole world chasing synthetic pleasures, all right? Then you enslaved everybody on the slick. We corporate wage slaves, all right? All right, you got it.
This is on Isaiah 16:14. It says, the sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee, and all they that desire thee shall bow themselves down at the soles of thy feet.
But that's after the breaking process. What caused them to be that damn submissive? It says you're gonna rule them with a rod of iron, man. That's a broken spirit. That's a broken will, man. All right.
And they shall call thee the city of the Lord Yahweh, the Zion of the Holy One of Israel.
Like you take anything out of the wild and try to make it yours, you're gonna have to go through that resistance process. You're gonna have to go through that dominating process, man. That breaking, what they call it, the seasoning process. When they first brought Jake over here to the shores of America, they called it the seasoning process, where they broke the will of the Israelite man. And I want to say 3/5 of them died on the way over here because of that, man. All right. But unless you had anything else, that could be the close of scripture.
Yeah, I think that was it.
All right, like I said, like the brother said, we're not doing this just to do it. We're correcting the nations. All right, we're subjugating the nations under the laws, statutes, and commandments. Yep. So we're basically taking children and we're disciplining them, man.
And 1,000 years.
Yeah.
There's gonna be 1,000-year period. Yep. Of breaking the will of these nations, man. Yeah. Because they're so used to the guys of their forefathers. They've been doing that thousands of years, man. Yeah. There's certain ways, their particular, Moab, with their diet, they eat any damn things. All that got to be broke up, and that's gonna make them beneficial to the kingdom of Israel for eternity, man. But it got to be, a standard set, and it's gonna be a constant chastening, until. All right, pretty matter of fact, this shows that they're fully broke. When you go to you can even hear Isaiah the 2nd chapter. All right, this is Isaiah 2:1. The word that Isaiah the son of Amos saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem, and it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow into it. And many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord Yahweh, to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord Yahweh by Yahawashi'S from Jerusalem.
And that's the new world order. All right, but basically the world is going to learn the ways of righteousness, man.
It's going to come to a point where they're going to be thirsting for that way. Because you go back to the time of Solomon, going back to Queen Sheba, she traveled all that way because she was thirsting. She wanted to hear this wisdom. She wanted to, learn how to run, her kingdom, in a more efficient manner. But all the kings of the earth was flowing to Solomon. You see, it took David to break them, though. See, David broke the will of the nations, and then Solomon, pretty much the nations flowed to him, and that's what's finna happen in this time, man. Yep.
All right. Well, with that, we hope you brothers and sisters were edified. Once again, we want to give our honor and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahawashi'S, by Hashem, Kakadash. Double honors to our apostles, great millstone, Ruel. Peace and blessed to the house of David the elect, Abba Baal. Come Yashala. Shalom.